So guys, now we're really turning up the heat. Now we're going completely crazy. We've already integrated new speakers into the Jimny in part 1. And now it's really kicking off with DSP Amplifier and Subwoofer. The whole thing is installed completely invisibly with an awesome sound. We've already made you a video where we completely replace the front and rear speakers and add the door insulation. There, we talked about V1, the front speakers, V2 front and rear speakers, including door insulation, everything. And now, we're adding V3, everything. Front speakers, rear speakers, subwoofer, power amplifier, cabling, everything is included in this set. Insulation, tools, everything you need. This V3 is what it's all about. We are now adding the subwoofer, which is a 20 cm subwoofer that is installed under the driver's seat so that you only have to push it in. The seat can still be adjusted perfectly, the installation is super easy, and now comes the heart of the V3. This is the DSP 6 power amplifier, a 6-channel DSP power amplifier with 6 times 60 watts of RMS power, i.e., for the front system, for the rear system, and for the subwoofer. Everything is now properly powered with really nice performance. The installation is also very easy, because the cabling is very cool with DSP power amplifiers. It's all easy to do. And of course, the DSP version now gives us the option of adjusting all the speakers perfectly to the vehicle. You have a linear frequency response, you have all the performance that the loudspeaker can somehow do. We pull it out here with this power amplifier and create a sound. Guys, it's going to be really cool. You'll have a concert hall inside the Jimny afterwards. It simply makes your eyes water. This is simply what we're going to show you now, and once again, show you in the first video how the addition of the sound system power amplifier and subwoofer is integrated into the vehicle. If you already have V1 or V2 in your car, or would like to buy V3 now, and can easily install everything from this video and the video about the speakers. Since this video is actually only about V3, and it assumes that either V1 or V2 is already integrated, and you only want to upgrade to V3 because you are adding the power amplifier and subwoofer to your existing system, or you decide on the complete V3 variant, then everything we discussed in the first video would already be included, and we are now talking about integrating the subwoofer and the power amplifier, and we have also included ready-made plug-and-play cable sets, so that you only have to connect the whole thing to the car radio via plug and play, and the power supply is already included in the set as a plug-in variant, as is the subwoofer cable that is laid under the driver's seat. And we have also included a pull-through strap, so that you can easily pull through the cable routing with the pull-through strap. With our Suzuki system in particular, we have now also included a level control for the subwoofer, so that you can adjust it to your liking while listening to music. This is now especially possible with the Suzuki, which is why it is also included in the V3 set. So, V3 all together again. Front speakers, rear speakers, insulation, subwoofer, and power amplifier. Mega cool, I can only recommend it to you, and we can also switch this power amplifier so that you either want to operate this sound system on the original car radio or with another switch click. You can operate the whole thing on a retrofit radio. The connections are basically the same, but the requirements between the retrofit radio and the original Suzuki radio are slightly different. That's why we can switch this at the power amplifier. Thanks to the latest technology in our DSP 6 power amplifier, We have 6 times 60 watts of RMS output power, and have of course already programmed this sound file for this vehicle, which I have created for you. This means that you will be supplied with this power amplifier for the Jimny, and can install it straight away. And because it has the latest technology in it, it has low heat development and is of course ultra small for the power it produces. The advantage is that we can integrate the power amplifier directly behind the dashboard, behind the center console. Just insert it. We don't need a fat power amplifier somewhere on the right in the footwell, or fat anchors. And to install the power amplifier now, we're going to put a new cable in here, which will of course connect to our original car radio. And this is looped into the power amplifier in such a way that we take the outputs from the car radio, run the speaker outputs in here with the cable kit as input, and then back out of the power amplifier to the original speaker openings, to the original cables where our new speakers are now hanging on. And so we practically use the original sound system, the original wiring, in a plug-play process to connect everything to it. The only thing we still need is the subwoofer separately. We need a cable for that, because, logically, it wasn't even in the car. The important thing about the power amplifier is actually the control knobs that you still have here. There are very few of them, but we'll give them a quick run-through. This switch, Mode 1 or Mode 2, indicates which car radio I am operating on the power amplifier. On the left is the original Suzuki radio, and on the right is a retrofit radio such as an Alpine, a Pioneer, or a Kenwood. Accordingly, we have prefabricated the equalizing here so that it works on the correct radio. All you have to do is switch back and forth and select which radio you have. Control knob number 2 is the subwoofer. The intensity right stop is of course maximum, left stop is 0, and of course you can leave it at the right stop. Or if you don't want to integrate a level remote control, you can of course set it once so that the level suits you, or you can leave it at full scale and control everything via the supplied level remote control, which you can still install. Control knob 1 creates a high-pass filter for the front bass speakers in the doors. If this is set to the right-hand stop, it is cut off at 67 Hz, which means that we take away some of the bass. Not all of it, of course, but this makes the speaker more powerful at higher volumes. And the more I move over to the left and turn it to the left stop, the more bass I have in it. The loudspeaker is, of course, no longer quite as resilient. My recommendation is to leave it at the right-hand stop. We now have the subwoofer for this, and it will provide enough bass. But now let's just start laying the cable here, piece by piece. With the levering tool, we can now get in down here and loosen this plastic cover, and remove another 2 Phillips screws hidden behind it. The rest of the radio is only clipped, so we can unlock it directly, and also put it to the side, or pull it out like this. Put something down so that nothing gets scratched, because we have to use this plug. This is our plug, which we have to unplug here and connect to our plug and play cable kit, which simply switches into the line. We have now re-established the connection, but we have a tap for our new wiring harness, which is now routed from the radio slot to the footwell. And here, we can plug in our other adapter plug directly, and are already finished with the connection to the car radio. We can now safely leave the power amplifier connection cable hanging in the footwell from here, and can grab it again by hand behind the glove compartment, and pull it down. So we can leave the whole thing hanging here for now. The car radio can already be plugged in again, because we're already done here. Of course, we have a perfectly prepared wiring harness for the power supply to the output stage, which we connect to the battery with the positive cable, and the negative cable is in the footwell. There's a ground point there, so we can screw ourselves onto it. So it's all very easy, and we quickly pull the power cable into the passenger compartment. The rubber sleeve that we use to pull the cable into the passenger compartment is located directly behind the battery, and we take the yellow pull-through tape and can pull it directly into the passenger compartment for the time being. We can attach our power cable to one end of the pull-through tape with the insulating tape and feed it through towards the passenger compartment. So help a little here. And then, now, as planned, we have already got our cable here, and we pull it through until the fabric hose is in the passenger compartment. You can attach the ring terminal of our power cable directly to the battery terminal, but only at the very end when the power amplifier is fully installed. Then we can connect the power supply to the battery, and we can already hear. We attach our ground cable to a ground point under the paneling down here. Accordingly, we now have to remove the side spoiler fairing, which is only clipped out upwards. And this side panel can also be removed very easily, as there is a clip in the back that you pull out, and then you can remove the whole panel in the same way. Here we can also see the grounding point that we can unscrew here. This is then 10 bolts, 10 nuts. We can use our ring terminal to go straight onto this and screw the whole thing back together. We can use the fabric insulating tape supplied to tie the cable together and route it towards the center console. Our power amplifier connection cable here has a black and a yellow cable. This is the power supply that we need for our power amplifier, but which we have just laid again because the power supply from the radio, where the cables go, would be too little and too thin. That's why we plug this one in. And reconnect these here. Red to yellow, please. And black on black, the earth. And now we're done with the power supply and the power amplifier connection, and only need to take care of the subwoofer. By the cables that are too thin, I mean the connection cables on the car radio that come from Suzuki. They are really thin, they take care of the car radio, but we can't connect an extra power amplifier there now. That's why we simply remove the normal provision from the cable and clamp our new power supply onto the cable. We now run our subwoofer cable from the power amplifier over here to under the carpet, and in the same way under the panels up to here. We now push the cable over to the power amplifier, and that's very easy to do here. And so that you don't have to remove the driver's seat and still get the cable to the right place, there is now once again the wonderful yellow pull-through tape. And we insert it right here on the center console at the bottom of the seat. You can see where the cables come out, and if we run it under the seat, we push our yellow pull-through tape through, so that it comes out again over at the sill trim. And here, we fix the cable again with our insulating tape so that we can pull it back under the seat to where the cables come out from under the seat. That's where the connection terminal for our subwoofer is. So now, about the excess cable. Doesn't need to be too much over here. You leave the excess cable inside the trim here, and also put the sill trim back on here. Our subwoofer cable now comes out here under the seat and is laid very simply. And now we'll move our seat backwards, and now I'll briefly introduce you to our Suzuki Jimny subwoofer. I have designed it so that it's really easy to fit, and now I have to say a little something about it. So over here is our terminal that you plug in here at 0 degrees, so with the plug that we've just laid. And I have flattened it. Here, you can hardly see it at this corner, so that later, when you have a thick cover like the one here in the vehicle, there is a really chic leather cover in here so that it slides over it. Again, and the seat can still be moved without any problems. Just like these round edges here, nothing bumps against them. Everything glides past them, and the woofer is down-firing down here. This means that there is nothing on top at first, but the woofer has the appropriate distance to the carpet and bounces against the resistance over a wide area and is better distributed in the car. You also don't have the feeling that the subwoofer is knocking against your bottom if it were in there like this. So, that's sometimes a bit unpleasant. It's not nice. So the variant makes a bit more bass, a nice clean, rich bass, and the whole thing disappears visually at 0. And now you can watch me integrate the subwoofer into the vehicle. Seat all the way to the front. So now all the way to the front. And now we can push it in down in here. And that's it. And now we can move the seat back and forth again without any problems. We can now plug in the power amplifier. The subwoofer too. And if you want, you can now also plug in the level remote control here and find a place for it, because of me here, where you might be able to reach it. But I think everyone can decide for themselves where they like it best, because the cable is also simply laid up to the power amplifier. So it's up to you, and we can now place the power amplifier vertically in here, and push it in a little at the back, and it is already fixed in place. We can also put the wiring harness in the back here, and that completes the installation. Can you still remember the sound check in part 1? Just swapping speakers? That was really cool. Now it's getting really cool. Let's do now a sound check together. Let's turn it up a notch. Now, this is, let's say it's simply amazing. Such a great sound in such a small ball. You really have to do it first. The bass here fills the entire room and the treble. Mid-range, the relationship between front and back. It's all so well balanced. You're sitting right in the middle of the music. And the voices are in front of you as a beautiful body. It's all brutally harmonious and even at high volumes. There is no distortion at all or anything like that, but you have a crystal clear sound, even at high volumes. And also a nice rich bass at lower volumes. So it just sounds better all around, as simple as that. Installation time, I would say, 1 hour to 1.5 maximum. Then you have the sound package with the power amplifier and the subwoofer to complement your existing speaker system. So that's a really long time if you add everything up. So if you buy the whole V3 package, where everything is installed at once, you have a maximum installation time of 5 hours. And then you have done it all super easy and by yourself, and probably have a lot of fun installing it, because it all goes very smoothly on the car. Nothing really breaks. It's all very practical, and you can work on it yourself. And then, enjoy the sound. Dude, fall on your soul. Simply awesome. I hope you like the system, as invisible as we have designed it now. Invisible subwoofer. Everything remains as it was before. The speakers, the tweeters, everything is perfectly prepared. What else is there to say? I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you think of it and what you think of the whole topic. And I have one more thing to say. You can, of course, still adjust the sound settings on the car radio. The bass plus minus treble. A little plus minus to suit your taste. Basically, however, we have set the DSP sound system so that everything is at 0. The equalizer is also set to neutral. And now it was everything. That's all the information you need to install the sound system. If you can think of anything else that's not quite clear, write it in the comments below. I think we'll answer everything and clarify everything so that you can get on with it without any problems. And in that respect, I'd like to say thank you for watching. We'll definitely see you in the next video. And maybe it will be your car then, if you don't drive such a great Suzuki Jimny.